What's up? Matt from Urchfab here. In today's video I'm going to be demonstrating all the features of this Htp Revolution 2500. I've had this in the workshop now for about 6 months, so I've had a good chance to go through all the different settings and features. This is a true multi-purpose machine which does MIG welding, pulsed MIG welding, stick welding, ACDC TIG welding, DC TIG welding. So it really is a complete all-in-one machine. I don't think there's any other machines that do pulsed MIG, and ACDC TIG. Pulsed MIG is something I use quite a bit, so that's why I was particularly interested in this machine. So if you're watching from the UK, you probably may have never seen a Htp machine. This is an American brand, and unfortunately they only sell these in America. I'm sure you probably guessed it's an American brand because it's very USA. So I'm just going to run through the machine, show you all the menus, how it works, and then run through all the different processes and do some welding on various different materials. It basically comes with everything you need to set it up, with all the TIG torches. Comes with 2 MIG torches, one specifically for aluminium. Got a foot pedal for your ACDC TIG or your normal TIG, and you've got optional torch control as well for the MIG gun, or you can add it to the TIG torch, which actually gives you a the equivalent of a pedal, but thumb operated. So you really do have every option for pretty much every type of welding you could want to do. That obviously saves on a lot of space around the workshop. I built this cart which houses 2 bottles, the foot pedal, holds all the leads and everything, and it just means that yeah, I've got one machine that does everything. So size wise, it's fairly compact for what it is. 300 width, 550 length, 430 height. So you've essentially got 2 complete machines crammed in there. Got your little chart on the inside. Wire feed. I was quite surprised to only see a single roll wire feed, but the feed on it is really good. So it's really basic the way it's set out. It's really, you don't even really need any sort of manual to look at to work out how to do stuff. You've got your modes down the side here. So you've got your stick welding to start with, which has got your basic amps. Manual or easy set, and you just use these arrows to direct you to whatever it is you want. Then you can choose your electrode or welding rod, choose the size, and then it will give you the recommended amps. You can obviously adjust up or down. TIG, this is set in AC TIG at the moment. Right, so as you can see, no issues with the ACDC TIG side of it. This is 2mm. Has all the functions, you know, any ACDC TIG welder would have in terms of everything you can adjust and all the stuff it can do. It's got a nice smooth arc once it's got going. I did notice it seemed to have a bit more of a stutter when you first fire it up in comparison to my Lincoln machine that I've been using previous to this. And this is the torch that came with it, which is a big heavy duty thing. I thought I would try swapping it out for my smaller 17 style torch, and that made a big difference actually to the initial start. So for the thinner stuff, that did seem to be an improvement on giving me a nicer start. It's a 250 amp machine, so I think this torch is rated to 300. HH 350, so it's probably 350 amps air cooled, so that's why it's such a meaty old thing. MIG manual mode. Basically, this is now working as any MIG welder would work, where you've got your voltage on the one side and your inches per minute or millimeters per minute on the other side. MIG synergic, this is where it sets it for you, so you're just putting material thickness in. Obviously you have to set what it is you're welding, so you've got options for synergic MIG, pulse MIG or double pulse MIG. We'll go synergic MIG, carbon steel, pick your gas, pick your wire thickness, and then away you go. You got a little trim of the voltage to make fine tuning adjustments there. Pulsed MIG, again, you just same sort of deal. Pick your gas, pick your wire, pick your material thickness, trim if you need it. You've got aluminium specific settings for all the pulsed MIG as well, and you've also got this MIG 4TS feature, and that's what's made doing the aluminium MIG a real pleasure. You've also got a aluminium specific torch, which is a bit shorter, and you've got this amperage adjuster, so you can adjust on the fly. I've done a bit of MIG with a few different machines, and it's always been temperamental, and I would usually end up just going back to TIG welding stuff, whereas I've done this whole project with the MIG, and I would say it's probably sped the job up massively. So you can see I'm set at aluminium 53/56 wire. I've got my material thickness, which I can adjust here. I can also adjust that with my torch button on the side here. 100% argon, I'm running 40 CFH, so you do get through quite a bit of gas. So this is the clever bit. This is showing the pre-gas, going to do a quick burst of gas before it actually fires the arc. Then as I'm holding the trigger down the first time, I'm going to be at 140% of my welding current that I've set. This is important for Ali, I'll talk about in a minute why. When I let go of the trigger, it's going to downslope here. I could set it so it ramps down slowly, or it just completely drops straight down. So I've got mine set to 0.1 second. It will drop down to this second line here is my welding current of whatever I've set the machine to. So that would be effectively 100%. Then it's going to drop down to 70%. And again, I'll talk about why you need it to do that in a second. And then a 1 second post flow of gas afterwards. So what this is representing is, I'm going to pull the trigger, I'm going to be at 140%. I'm going to let go of the trigger, I'll be at 100%. I'm going to pull the trigger again, it'll drop down to 70%. I'm going to let go and it will finish my weld. So it's 4 steps. Right, so the reason you need those multiple stages of amperage is because when you weld aluminium, if you've done it with a foot pedal, you'll know you need a lot of amps initially to get it going. It then heat soaks very quickly and you end up backing off. So if you were welding this with a foot pedal, TIG welding it, you'd be heavy on the pedal here, then you'd back off and you'd settle into your welding current, whatever that might be for this. Then what happens is you'll be welding along here, the heat soak is following the front of the puddle. By the time you get to the end of this piece, there's nowhere for the heat to keep going, and it's spreading across this aluminium so fast that unless you back right off at the end of this, you will just melt the end of it away. And that's basically the process that the MIG machine is doing all by itself, just through the operation of the trigger. So I'm going to run a few welds. You should hear the pitch change as I cycle through the trigger operation. The only thing is, when you want to tack something, you've got to either quickly cycle through the on-off, or turn it back to normal trigger mode. I just quickly will press it twice and then let go to basically get a tack. A little bit hot, and as you can see, I was a little bit slow pulling the trigger at the end, almost blew through there but just managed to catch it. Did the same on this one. I did a bit of a weave on this one to try and replicate a TIG weld. So my preferred method is a bit of a weave, pushing the torch along forwards. And yeah, I think that's pretty decent. Double pulse MIG. This is similar to the pulse setting in TIG. This is giving you that same diagram. So again, you got speed of the actual pulse itself, percentage time of the high pulse, and then percentage of the amperage range of the low pulse. So it's pretty easy to set up once you get your head around it. The way they've done all the menus is it's quite simple to work out. So these are the different hertz settings: 0.5, 1, 2 and 3. 3.5 goes up to 4. 1 is my favourite. That's like a nice frequency where you can sort of inch along as it's pulsing on and off. So that's definitely the one that I would run. Looks the nicest too, if you ask me. I'm sure you could hear the difference there between all of them. But this is the great thing about pulse welding: no weld spatter at all. So no cleanup needed. So that's going to be it for my review of this HTP Revolution 2500. I really like it. It does everything that it says it should do, does it all really well. The only downside, I think, is that they're not selling it in the UK. But if you're interested in looking more into it, all the details will be in the description box. And if you haven't heard of Peter Zilla and his YouTube channel, head over to his channel. There's loads of information on this machine on there. He actually was part of the design team for this, and he's a industrial welder himself, so I think that's probably why this has come out so good, because it's got the input of someone who's actually in the trade doing it. So that's going to be it for this one. Cheers for watching. See you on the next one.